Hey there, welcome to SEM Mondays. You know, SEM is an acronym for Source Energy Medicine, which I developed in 2005. And SEM Mondays is the place to be every Monday if you're interested in learning how you can empower yourself to heal yourself. In this nugget of Source Energy Medicine wisdom video, you are going to learn exactly why New Year's resolutions don't work and exactly what you can do so that you can be empowered to make the positive changes that you want in your life. I have been fascinated by human behavior for most of my adult life. Very likely when I was a child too, just not as aware of it as I have been for the last 30 or more years. One of the areas of human behavior that fascinates me is related to change. And I often think about this scenario of New Year's resolutions. And, you know, for a lot of people, I know I certainly did for a lot of years, every New Year's Eve, and sometimes for days before New Year's Eve, I would make lists of things that I would literally resolve to do in the coming year. And I'd get inspired and I'd buy books or sometimes sign up for workshops, new gym memberships or things like that. Things that I wanted to do that I had not been able to achieve so far. And what I now come to realize is that, so my personal experience is that New Year's resolutions did not work for me at all. And I finally got to a point where I just flat out stopped making them because the disappointment was pretty crushing. So now I realize that the reason why I was not able to fulfill my New Year's resolution was because my brain was chemically addicted to short-chain amino acids that are associated with certain emotions. Certain thoughts, certain feelings, certain behaviors. And those short-chain amino acids, they're known as peptides or they're neurohormones, are very, very strong. Strong to the point where in laboratory animals, the laboratory animals would choose the amino acid over hunger, over thirst, over sex, over sleep, and literally work itself to the point of complete exhaustion before taking care of itself. There's a part of the brain known as the hypothalamus, and it basically is a chemical producing factory. And when we were very, very young, the first time we experience a strong emotion, the hypothalamus produces a chemical that's associated with that. The more frequently the emotion is experienced, the more frequent the release of that neurohormone. And over time, we literally become chemically addicted to the short-chain amino acids that are associated with certain strong emotions. Whether it's shame or guilt or fear or stress, we literally do become chemically addicted to these short-chain amino acids that are chemically associated with these emotions. I've heard that the chemical addiction to these short-chain amino acids is stronger than the chemical addiction to cigarette smoking or even heroin. So if a particular person makes a New Year's resolution to start exercising, but if he's chemically addicted to shame, the chemical addiction is going to win over the new conscious choice to make positive life changes. A big intention of Source Energy Medicine is to help to transform that chemical addiction, to help to transform our long-term relationship, literally the hardwiring of our neuronet, to literally go into the hippocampus, which is like our hard drive of our memory, and help to transform the long-term relationship that we have with these strong emotions. Now it does not create an armor so that I, for example, could never experience grief moving forward, but what it does do is it enables me to no longer be chemically addicted to the short-chain amino acids that are associated with that strong emotion. I could be driving a brand new Tesla down the most beautiful country road, listening to my favorite music, sitting next to my favorite person, and if my brain has not gotten its chemical need met yet, it will go into the hippocampus, drum up something that literally will be projected to the front part of my brain from my past to elicit the same emotion so that my brain will get its chemical need met. This is important not only to creating positive change in our lives, but when a cell replicates, it will upregulate or downregulate in terms of receptor sites that are on the cell based on the peptide demand. So if there are a lot of peptides for shame, then there'll be more receptor sites that will be produced on that cell to accommodate those peptides, which means there'll be fewer receptor sites for the exchange of nutrients, for the exchange of waste. Cells do, to a large majority, all of the functions that our entire body does, but just on a micro level. So the cells need these receptor sites to be able to breathe and eat and excrete toxins and replicate and do all of the things that a healthy cell does. There are absolutely a finite number of receptor sites on a cell, so when we're chemically addicted to stress or fear or self-loathing, for example, then cells will have a high level of receptor sites for those chemicals that are associated with those emotions, therefore fewer receptor sites for doing the functions that a healthy cell does. Now again, once I transform the cellular memory, break the chemical addiction to the short chain amino acids, help to transform the hardwiring in our neuronet, then I have much greater conscious choice over my thoughts, my feelings, my behaviors, the memories I choose to engage in, and I can then set goals that are much more achievable. There's a lot of fascinating science that backs this up. Dr. Joe Dispenza, who is featured in the film What the Bleep Do We Know and Down the Rabbit Hole, the sequel to What the Bleep Do We Know, there's a lot of great additional footage that did not make it into either of those films. In the Down the Rabbit Hole Collector's Edition, which basically has all of the footage that was shot with all of the experts that appear in the film. Dr. Bruce Lipton's book, Biology of Belief, is also fascinating and absolutely appropriate to explore further in this regard. Lynn McTaggart's book, The Field, I think is a fascinating read, as is Greg Braden's material as well, and I will include references for all of that in the program notes. So again, once I transform my long-term relationship with shame, it doesn't mean that I could never experience shame, but when I do experience shame, then I am just able to be with that current opportunity to experience shame, and I can shift out of it much more quickly than when I was chemically addicted to the short chain amino acids that are associated with shame. The science behind this is fascinating, and it's encouraging to me to know that it was a chemical addiction that to a large degree undermined my conscious efforts, my New Year's resolutions, and my knowing that making better choices would serve my well-being.